All right, up here on the roof at Harrah's, you know, I filmed my like other thoughts about the Venetian room that day when I was sitting in that same seat in the hallway in the mall. But for one, the audio wasn't great, and also my thoughts weren't that well organized. There was also some music going on. There were some copyright issues. So even though this is many days later, and I played there a second time since, I'm going to finish my thoughts. So I said I really enjoyed being in the room once I was in there more than I expected. Of course, the energy is going to wear off. The newness is going to wear off. Here's the thing. The location isn't hurting right now. It's going to. I'm going to take you through the timeline of a new poker room, either a move or a renovation. A poker room is new, and it's very popular just for that one reason. One reason. The fact that it's new. This happened in November 22 with Bally's. You probably call it Horseshoe. It was new. Like the old room, yeah, it was like outdated. It was old, wasn't like that bright. I mean, it was well lit. I mean, like the colors weren't very vibrant, like the carpet and the walls and the ceiling and everything. Had some great games. Small number of great games. But then it was new. We had the temp area, then it was new in November 22. The newness wears off after about 4 months. The thing was with Bally's, 4 months later was March. And the World Series of Poker circuit is in Bally's in March. So right around when things were like kind of dying down in terms of newness, in terms of traffic, in terms of people wanting to check it out just because it's new, there was a tournament series. And it was still packed because there was a tournament series. And then it like managed to get through April and the beginning of May, and then the World Series of Poker was in Paris and Bally's in starting, you know, the last few days of May and going through mid-July. So those two tournament series like extended that newness period from November through mid-July. And then end of July and August, it's like the slowest 6 weeks in Vegas for poker. The heat and the fact that all the poker is over of the World Series of Poker. And so for the second half of July and for all of August, it doesn't seem different from any other place. Traffic is noticeably lower. And then it was September, where like traffic picks back up. It's not as hot. Conventions start coming to town again. Football season starts. Basketball season is about to start. Hockey season's about to start. People blamed F1 so much for the low traffic in the Bally's poker room in September and October. F1 did some terrible things for the city, but that wasn't the reason traffic was low in Bally's in September and October and the start of November. It was just that finally the newness was wearing off and there was nothing on the horizon to extend it. No more tournament series on the horizon like the World Series of Poker circuit in March and the World Series of Poker, the actual World Series of Poker, for 6 weeks from end of May through mid-July. That's why the traffic went down. F1 left and the traffic was still down. F1 was gone for a month and 2 months and 3 months and 4 months, and the traffic was still down. The newness just wore off. With no tournament series, people probably would have noticed this in like late March, about 4 months later. So as far as Venetian goes, it's gonna, there were a lot of people willing to play there because it was new, because it was renovated, in an interesting spot, in a unique spot in the building, which I guess officially is Palazzo. I'm not even sure. You're way closer to the Palazzo casino floor than the Venetian casino floor. That's all I'm going on. But so I think through the end of the year, it'll be pretty busy. And in like January, February, start of March, noticeably less. Also, the problem with moving it to another floor is different than Bally's. Bally's was in the exact same spot. I played in MGM National Harbor in, what, it was summer 18, when it moved from the first floor to the second floor. I mention this a lot because I'm like so honored that I was there, like literally as it happened. We were playing on the first floor and they started taking chairs away and not seating new players. And then eventually they just stopped the game and told us to go upstairs. And they said the table number to go to, they said keep your seats, and you know, whatever, seat 4 for example, you're the button, and the dealer will be up there in a few minutes. And I was there as we moved. The problem with another floor is that it's tough for people who like aren't so like keeping up to date with things like this to know how to get there. So MGM National Harbor had a ton of traffic from the table games, from the pit games, because they were so close. People would play those games all night and then either like finish with poker or take a break. They would color up to green chips and black chips, 25s and 100s, and then they would walk over to poker. And they didn't even understand what the dealer was asking when the dealer offered to color down to red chips. They would just raise pre-flop to 25. That's the lowest chip they had. They would bet 50, 2 more green chips on the flop, and then on the turn they would just go all in. Like that was like almost every hand from those guys. Those guys never made it up to the second floor. They didn't want to break that badly to play something else, to walk across the entire casino and make their way to another floor. So that type of traffic didn't exist anymore on the second floor. Even other people who like fairly frequently, not like daily, but like fairly frequently would come to the casino to play poker, weren't making it there. This is what's going to happen in Venetian. People are going to go to the old room. People who haven't been in town for the past month, who don't know that Venetian has moved, they're going to go to the old spot. Some people are going to see that it's not there and they're just going to give up. That's it. They're not even going to try to make it to where the room is, even though it says on that wall that closes off that area. Some people will see it, read it, not care enough to go to the second floor. Some people won't even notice the words are on the wall. Some people will genuinely want to find out where it is. They'll ask an employee for directions. That employee won't know or will give awful instructions, and the person won't even try to make it to the second floor. Some people will ask an employee for directions, get amazing instructions. It's just so far. You need to walk across the entire casino floor of Venetian. You need to walk through Restaurant Row. You need to be almost to the casino floor of Palazzo, go up the escalator near the love sign, and then as soon as you get to the top of the escalator, make a 180-degree turn back and to the left. And still, there's another fork in the hallway, and you need to go right. There are people with great directions who are just going to get lost along the way and give up and not make it there. So it's so far away from the original location. The farther away it is, the worse. So I hope it's as busy as it is now for the next 10 years, but my prediction would be that in like January and February, it is like very low traffic, even like worse than it was downstairs during slow times of the year. I played there like I always gave it a chance. I played there somewhat a few times a month for like the last few years. I mean, there were plenty of days. There was, you know, 0 or 1 3-5 game. Plenty of days there was 0 or 1 2-4 games. Now it's the 2-3 blinds. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's like mid-January and there's like 1 2-3 game, no 3-5 games, and I don't know, just a small number of 1-3 games. It is a fairly good spot for tournaments because I think tournament players are like more willing to like just kind of pick based on the building, not necessarily the location. You don't get a lot of like foot traffic that winds up playing tournaments. So it is an interesting tournament spot. I don't think tournaments will be affected much. And even though there's not a ton of marketing, Venetian does run a tournament series almost every single month of the year. If it's not 12 tournament series each year, it's at least 10. So interesting. For tournaments, I don't think it'll be affected. Might even be better, but I don't see it being a great move for cash games. If you're in town in the next few months, yeah, it's new. It's going to be very popular. It's going to be busy. But after the fact that it's new wears off, I just don't think so. Even though I would like it to be a great busy poker room, I just don't see it happening. And remember, rice is a spoon food.